2026 has been an interesting year for TNA Wrestling. We started off the year with TNA being on AMC. And the first episode on of TNA Impact on AMC, it didn't go quite well. But they rebounded quite nicely. We had Trey Miguel return to the company after he was released from his new deal with AEW. We had a good feud with Steve Macklin and Mike Santana. Moose was excommunicated from the system. But after Rebellion, it seemed like TNA kind of took a moment where it wasn't really doing much of anything. Stories weren't progressing, and wrestlers were leaving. Danny Luna left, Stephanie Lander left, Mance Warner left. Right before Slammiversary, we had Steve Macklin leave. It was just a lot of people leaving TNA Wrestling. Tessa Blanchard left. Just like I said, a lot of people leaving TNA Wrestling. Tommy Dreamer was let go. And I feel like with Tommy Dreamer being let go from TNA Wrestling, I feel like that's when the shift began in TNA, with stories starting to make sense, with the episodes of TNA Impact being more consistent. Slammiversary was a slam dunk of a pay-per-view. And now we're at the time where we're heading into lockdown. We got the lockdown card set. Storylines seem really good. And, right now we also have a new Knockouts title in the division. We've been having this Knockouts television title tournament over the past 2 months, really since Slammiversary. And now we are approaching lockdown, and TNA feels different. TNA feels fresh. TNA feels new. The younger stars are being pushed, and it feels right to be a TNA fan right now. I'm excited to be a TNA fan right now because we're in the stage of rebuilding, restructuring. We got a lot of things on the horizon. We got this new TNA VIP for the TNA Plus app. TNA is on the up and up. But right now, what TNA is trying to do is TNA is trying to fight and combat the LOL TNA, and I think they're doing a good job of it. I enjoy watching TNA each and every Thursday. The state of TNA right now, I feel like it's really, really solid. We're pushing guys like Casey Navarro, Leon Slater, Ricky Sosa. We got the new Knockouts title for the new Knockouts TV title for the Knockouts division, which we have our finals coming up shortly, where M by Elegance will be taking on Jada Stone. So TNA feels good right now. Yes, they can do some tweaks here and tweaks there, but right now, consistently, every Thursday, TNA is cranking up those episodes, cranking up the attention, cranking up the volume, and it seems great. Trey Miguel just returned to the company after being out for a couple of months due to an injury. I feel like TNA is doing the best it can right now, and I am loving it. It was a struggle, though. I have to say, it was a struggle. Now, after the premiere of TNA on AMC in January, like I said, they rebounded. Against All Odds was good. Sacrifice was good. I enjoyed those two monthly specials. The weekly shows were really, really hitting it off. Rebellion came, and Rebellion wasn't the greatest pay-per-view, but I thought it was solid for what it was. And then after Rebellion, it just seemed like TNA kind of lost its footing. The episodes were hit and miss. Some of the episodes were just flat out bad. But then Slammiversary came around, and I know I'm kind of repeating myself, but I want to create a picture of, how 2026 has looked for TNA. Slammiversary came around, slam dunk of a pay-per-view. We lost Mike Santana, but they didn't lose their footing. We lost Jody Threat, but they didn't lose their footing. We lost Mara Sade, but they didn't lose their footing. We lost Steve Macklin, but they didn't lose their footing. They just continued to put out great products. We got Nick Nemeth as the world champion. We got Cedric Alexander as the X Division champion. We have Jason Hotch, a new, he's not new to the TNA audience, but he's new to being in the spotlight as our international champion. And right now, that might be the best feud in TNA. Jason Hotch versus Mustafa Ali for the international championship. That has been an incredible feud that has been written very well by whoever is in creative right now. I feel like TNA is doing its job by putting itself out there. Speaking of like Mustafa Ali and Jason Hotch, you got to talk about Jada Stone. Jada Stone is out there putting out banger matches. Just look at this past week's episode of TNA Impact. Jada Stone versus Heather by Elegance. Both of them delivered. Now, I'm a big fan of the Elegance brand. Heather by Elegance delivered in that match. Jada Stone delivered in that match. We also got to look at, gals like Heather by Elegance and M by Elegance. Look at Mara Sade's last match in TNA Wrestling. It was against Heather by Elegance. I believe that was the quarterfinals of the TNA Knockouts television title tournament. Whew. They put on an excellent match. They put on an insane match between those two. So the Knockouts division is looking good. We just signed Gabby Forza, so she's going to be a great addition to the Knockouts division. She's going to bring that grit. She's going to bring that power. She's going to bring that strength style to the Knockouts division that we lost with Jordan Grace and Danny Luna. So Gabby Forza is a great addition to the Knockouts division in that area. There's other women wrestlers out there who want to join the Knockout division, like Vicious Vicky Venuto. She's been very vocal, very, very vocal on social media about how she wants to join the Knockouts division, how she wants to be a part of the Knockouts division. TNA is not going anywhere. TNA is not dying. TNA is finding a way to reinvent themselves. And with lockdown being here now, we got this pay-per-view coming back for the first time in 10 years, and you got some really good matches on the lockdown card. Top of the card, Cedric Alexander versus Leon Slater, last man standing X Division title. I know the stipulation is weird. If Leon Slater loses, his X Division title reign will be erased from the TNA history books. But you got to look at how they got to this match, how we got here. And I think it's been solid what they have done with Leon Slater, what they have done with Cedric Alexander. I think this is great. You got another match for, the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. And I know we don't have a lot of knockouts in that division, but they've built up the story good with the Elegance brand and Demon and Alley. I think they've built up the story quite well. They won the titles. Demon and Bunny won the titles at Slammiversary against the Elegance brand, and the Elegance brand was on top of that division for a very long time. And after that, Rosemary went missing. No one can find Rosemary. So what happens at lockdown? Well, there's going to be a mystery partner for Allie. There's going to be someone returning to the company to help Allie potentially defeat the Elegance brand at lockdown. That's another great story heading into lockdown. You also have the story for the TNA International Championship. I hinted and mentioned that earlier with Jason Hotch and Mustafa Ali. Great storytelling there where, the only person in the order for, holding gold at that time was Mustafa Ali as the international champion. He tried to get the Great Hands titles when he set in stone for them to face the Hardys on an episode of TNA Impact. And then the Great Hands lost. And he thought he was going to get Tasha Steelz to hold gold by, competing and winning the Knockouts television title tournament. But she lost in the first round. So Mustafa Ali was not happy. Mustafa Ali was upset. He was like, this is not how the order four should look. They should be at the top. So he brought in Mila Moore, but that didn't sit right with the group. And once he brought in Mila Moore as well, he was like, we're going to have a vote. The TNA roster is going to vote for my next opponent. The roster voted. It was Jason Hotch. Mustafa Ali didn't like that. Jason Hotch wasn't even going to take the opportunity until Mustafa Ali got into his head and he was like, hey, I'm going to take this opportunity. And on a live episode of TNA Impact, That man shocked the world, shocked the live crowd, shocked whoever was watching TNA at that moment, beat Mustafa Ali and became the new TNA International Champion. I think what they have done with Casey Navarro has been great. So Lockdown is really, really solid. Moose versus Frankie Kazarian, first time ever match in TNA, might be in all of wrestling that this is first time. We've never seen it. And I think that match is going to deliver. It's going to be an escape of the cage match. And I'm excited for that. We also have AJ Francis going up against Elijah. They have been having an on and off again feud. This is going to be the final encore, meaning this is going to be the final match between those two. And I think that's going to be a banger. If you saw their match at Slammiversary, you were missing out because I believe they were the second match on the card after the Ultimate X match. And boy, did they deliver. Kudos to AJ Francis. Kudos to Elijah in that match. I'm telling y'all, they went out there and put their best foot forward in that match. So, Lockdown, I'm expecting the same thing. And the Knockouts World title scene is trying to heat up a little bit. You got Zaya Brookside, top heel for the Knockouts, going up against Elena Black, who was originally a heel. Maybe she still is a heel. I don't know. But that match is going down at Lockdown. So there's a lot of exciting things happening at Lockdown that I think are going to help us get to Bound for Glory. I think we're going to have a really good Bound for Glory this year as well. So TNA is really, in my opinion, really heating up, really trying to move the needle, really trying to do the best they can right now. And Carlos Silva said it in the town hall on the TNA Plus app, if you are a TNA VIP subscriber, that they're going to get more wrestlers in the company. They have already signed some wrestlers to join the company that haven't been announced yet, that will be announced over the coming weeks. So TNA is rebuilding, and they're rebuilding the Knockouts division. They're rebuilding the men's division. They are rebuilding and telling stories. And that's what I like about TNA. That's why I watch TNA Impact every week. That's why I stream TNA Impact in my reactions every week on the Wrestling for Life Network with KJ and Big Nick. I believe in what TNA is doing. I believe that TNA can prosper. I believe that, as we approach 2027 and as we get deep into 2027, TNA is going to deliver each and every week. Like I said, we got Lockdown coming up. We got Lockdown coming up tomorrow. I'm talking like Lockdown is weeks away. Lockdown is tomorrow. And then we got Bound for Glory coming up in October. The return of Destination X I think it's in the middle of November. TNA is cooking right now. TNA is trying to do the best they can. And I've repeated that so many times. As a TNA fan, as a guy who consistently watches TNA each and every week, I'm telling you, watch TNA, make your own judgment. Don't listen to the online chatter. Don't listen to what you hear in the internet wrestling community. Don't even really, listen to them and then formulate your own opinion. Watch for yourself. Watch TNA Impact every Thursday night on AMC, on the TNA Plus app, and give it a fair shot, and then make your own assumption about what TNA is doing. I think TNA right now has, has positioned themselves to do better. I think TNA letting go Tommy Dreamer was a great decision because the episodes flow, the episodes feel more consistent, the episodes deliver. I mean, the main events of Impact since Slammiversary have really been solid. So I'm telling you, make your own decision. Watch TNA every Thursday. It airs at 9 p.m. on AMC, and I'm telling you, make your own opinion. If you don't like it, then don't come back. That's your own choice. But you made that choice by not listening to someone else talk about LOL TNA is failing, this and that. No, you made that decision on your own. I particularly, like I said, I love TNA. And, before I really end this here, I just want to tell you, like, when I started watching TNA, it was still Impact Wrestling. It was 2023. It was Hard to Kill. And I watched Mickey James in her last rodeo, her entire last rodeo matches before Hard to Kill aired that night. And the great story told by Mickey James. The main event of Hard to Kill 2023, Mickey James, Jordan Grace Knockouts title. One of the best women's matches I have ever seen. They delivered, and I decided after that I was going to tune into Impact that Thursday to kind of see the fallout, kind of see Mickey James's reign. And I watched that episode, and then I came back the following week and I watched that episode. And by the third or fourth episode, I was hooked, and I was watching every week. I was watching the pay-per-views. I was watching the monthly specials. I signed up for the TNA Plus app when it came out. I watched some of the old stuff. And when I mean old stuff, like the Access TV stuff, so I can kind of know what was going on in that moment, in that era in 2023. And I had heard bad things about Impact. I had heard bad things about the company. And I went out there and I watched it for myself and I became a fan. And that's all I am, kind of telling you and asking you to do. Go out there and watch TNA on your own and see if you like it, you know? But I don't want to keep you guys long today. I just kind of wanted to give my thoughts about the current state of TNA, how they have, kind of changed course since the beginning of 2026 and how rough it is. And we're on the back half of 2026. And I feel like TNA is doing some great stuff, really, moving the needle, honing in their, skills and their craft. I think as we approach 2027, TNA is going to be seen in a different light. I'm going to do more of these videos, hopefully in the future. Today was one of those where I was just kind of putting my foot out there and just kind of wanted to talk to you guys. But if you don't know who I am Ringsider Anthony. You can also call me Anthony by Elegance because I love the Elegance brand in TNA. And you can see me on the Wrestling for Life Network every Thursday for live reactions to TNA Impact. Again, this is Ringsider Anthony, and I'm out.